Okay. Hey, it says I'm on. It says I'm live. How is everyone? If you want to say something, please use the chat. So that way I know that everyone is here. And also, like, you can hear me and all of that kind of stuff. So yeah. Let me see. Hey, Skinny Girl Fat Hair, what's up? How are you? I think there's a smidge of a delay. There's an ever so slight delay, probably. All right. And then I'm also, so let me let everybody know where to go as well. Let me get back on the Patreon real quick. But if you're here, say hi in the chat. Hey, okay, Keshna. That's how you say it, right? Keshna, right? Is here. Awesome. Okay. Let me refresh the Patreon so people know where we're at, what's going on. This is so random. Woo! This is weird. This is weird, y'all. Okay. Cool. So yeah, while we're waiting for anyone else that maybe wants to come, let me explain what we're doing, because that's what you're supposed to do with these things, right? And as you come, please let me know you're here in the chat so I can know you're here in the chat. But yeah, so for everyone else who maybe watches this after the fact, this is the live stream that I do hopefully once a month for the Patreon producers of the channel. If you're interested in becoming a producer of the channel, patreon.com/Hallease. There you get access to early exclusive content, as well as access to merch, and then these live streams. My Patreon is set up to charge per video, and it's more of a suggested $2 a month tier, or $2 a video tier. I only post charge for 4 videos a month on the Patreon, and that is to I do it per video rather than per month, even though for y'all you'll just get it per month. It's more on my end, so that way if I ever take a vacation or if I'm doing maybe more sponsored content, I'm not going to charge y'all for that. So I just like doing it per video, so that way it's fair. Yeah, so that way it's if I'm not doing my job, y'all don't get charged. So yeah, that's why I set it up that way. I know it's kind of confusing, but that is how I do it. I was a really bad producer, didn't really come at this first live stream with any sort of topic in mind. So if you have topics to discuss, it could be about the videos that I've done so far this month, or it could be about just anything, honestly, just, anything, to be quite honest, you know what I'm saying? Feel free to let me know in the chat. So yeah, and then we can do it. I figured we could just chill for I don't know, an hour. I feel like when the vibe is people starting to dip out, then I'll be okay, bye. See you next month, So yeah. Yes. Will there be a follow-up? So, you're talking about, yes. Okay. So a follow-up chat. I assume you're talking about the video that went live yesterday, which was about role reversals and things such as, yes. With that, yeah, those videos are exclusively y'all, actually. So as a Patreon producer, if you have ideas for topics for Mr. Hallease and I to discuss, let me know via Patreon any ideas you have, and we'll do those videos. And then also via the private Facebook group too. So yeah, that's exclusively those videos. The ideas for those videos come from y'all. So there will be a follow-up. Let me see, what else? What else? This is so interesting. This is fun, but also weird. Yeah. Let me see. I'm making sure. It's okay. You don't have to be good. I'm not good at this either. We're figuring it out together. So it's fine. This is totally new to me. There's someone else. Wait. Okay, there's 4 people here. Okay, cool. Awesome. As you show up, please introduce yourself, say something in the chat so I can know that you're here and we can chill and things like such as, yeah. I made sure to drink coffee so that way I'm like, you know what I'm saying? Here and awake and things like such as. My general mood is more just like, you know, so, and that's not conducive. Ooh, Keshna has a list though. Okay. List of questions. Nice. Thank you. Taking that producer title and running with it. Thank you. I am ready. I'm ready for your questions. I have this giant jar of water so I can stay hydrated. So this is gonna be good. I'm excited. Oh. Wonder what the video quality is. Is this like good video quality? Like, should I have set up lights? You know what I'm saying? Should I have had some lights? I don't know. I love that I'm just like chilling with 3 people. This is great. This is like an introvert's dream right here. With like not too many people. Which I know is like the opposite of what you should want for a live stream. I think the whole point is to want more people, but I love that it's just 3 of us. This is awesome. I have to post my comment in Patreon. Okay. I will look at it. Wherever you post it, I will see it and I will answer it. Oh, dang. It's too long to fit in the chat box. All right. I've got my phone here. So wherever you. If anyone else has any questions, feel free to put them in the chat. Because like I said before. Ooh, do I have any fears about posting the recent couples video? A little bit. I mean, a little bit because, so yeah, okay, let me say it out loud, sorry. So one question I do have, and this is from Skinny Girl Fat Hair, if y'all don't know who she is, she's awesome, she has a YouTube channel too. One question I do have is, did you have any fears about posting the recent couples videos, fears or backlash of negativity? So the recent couple video that Mr. Hallease and I posted is about gender roles and role reversal, and we basically just kind of riffed off that topic for a while. I was nervous in the sense that my family and his family are starting, have finally, I guess, discovered my channel, if you will. And so I get live feedback from my parents, for example, stuff that goes on the channel. I get feedback from them my mother anyway, pretty immediately. So I was a little nervous in regards to that because I do try to be as candid about a topic as possible. So yeah, I was nervous about that, but I also just feel like I've gotten to the point where, and you and I, Skinny Girl, we talked about this a little bit, where it's just kind of I don't know, feeding into the fetishization, if that's a good word, of mixed race couples, you know? It's just, but at the end of the day, he's my husband and the channel is about my life and he's in my life. So it's like, how do I not? Definitely some fears, but also just one thing I like about YouTube being on here and creating content is I control the message. Oh, hey, Tony. I control the message, and I control every aspect of the message. So if people misconstrue or misunderstand what I've posted, then to me, it's like that's on them, because I know I put together what I felt makes sense, and said what I needed to say. And same with him. I got, like, he said what he needed to say, So yeah. I still think you should put your bae on the channel when it feels right. You know what I'm saying? When it feels right. Take that risk or whatever. But yeah, my sister's here. See, speaking of which, my sister's here. So yeah. Hi, Tony. If you have questions about the channel. Yeah, I know. I have seen him a little bit. Keshna asks, in regards to, I'm assuming, the couple videos, do we talk beforehand? Yes. Yeah. Okay. I was right. Yes, we do. We do talk beforehand. A lot of times the videos are essentially just extensions of conversations that we have already had a lot of. Oh, hey, Evelyn. What's your eyes emoji like? I love it. But yeah, the couples videos are definitely extensions of conversations that we've already had and been having. It's just like now we are more targeted and focused, and we really don't censor ourselves at all. So yeah. Oh, okay. So Antoinette asks, what has been the most challenging part about putting your family on film? Making sure I'm representing them as accurately as I can, but then also recognizing that I am being a bit like voyeuristic in how I present them. And then also, I am very self-aware, and I am also very protective of my family. So I find myself just really wanting to make sure that, yeah, I just represent my family in a complete and complex way. Especially with my nephew. He's on the channel a little bit, but with him specifically, because he can't technically consent as a baby. The person who can consent on his behalf is his mother and father, right? So I find myself just being very careful about what I put in regards to him, and just in general, So that's the hardest thing, knowing just when to turn off the camera, but also just wanting to capture, again, real moments and real life, and show real life as much as I can on the channel. Yeah, consent is really big. I mean, like, because I really, I don't know, I'm just aware, like, I don't have any children, but I feel like I would probably take, if I ever did have kids, I would probably take more of a Dina Tokyo approach to it, where her daughter is there, but she puts like an emoji over her face and things like that. Like, no one knows what her daughter looks like. And that's a very conscious decision on her part. And so I feel like if I ever had kids, I would probably teeter the line of wanting to do something like that. Just, again, they can't consent, So it's like they may not want to. And there's been times too where my nephew was doing something really cute and he was just being adorable or whatever. And I would want to film him, but he's aware of how phones work. And just like what they can do and stuff. And I would notice that he would like turn away. And I'm like, oh, dang. Like at 1.5, he's like, he doesn't want to be on it. And so I put it away, So there's times where I don't show him because I can tell he doesn't want to be recorded. It's weird. It's interesting. Ah, yeah, Skinny Girl Fat. So yeah, Skinny Girl Fat Hair has 2 kids. And she put, I stopped sharing my oldest as much because he's 12 and is definitely vocal about not wanting to be on film anymore. And I'm more careful about my youngest too. Yeah, it's hard. And I'm really interested to see like over the next 30 years, because I've watched whole children from like conception to 10 almost now be online, you know, and how will they feel about it when they're, I don't know, 30 and looking back? Like they can literally see what they were like when they were 1, which is just freaky to me, you know? So yeah, I just try to be more conscious of it, you know? Keshna, I don't know if you, yeah, see themselves acting a fool. Yeah, totally. Keshna, I don't know if you posted anything to the Patreon. I'm gonna refresh. I remember you said you were gonna ask some questions, but I don't see anything. So yeah. If anyone else has any questions, hit me up. Por favor. Oh my gosh, my sister just sent me a photo of my nephew watching me on their TV. They're like casting it. That's so scary. Oh, you direct messaged me. Okay. Awesome sauce. Let me check it out. Do I need to like open a thingy? I might need to open a thingy to do that. It's funny. I have friends that are on the live chat, but like can't quite figure out how to be in the chat. So they're like just texting me. It's funny. Yeah, it's really weird. I mean, I'm open, you know, to all suggestions around consent, because like I don't know, you know what I'm saying? Like I just don't know. I'll see. Thankfully, my family isn't too intense about it, but I'll see people posting like, oh, my kid pooped in this kind of way, or like, you know, borderline, you know, naked baby butt photos on Facebook. And I'm just kind of like, it's cute, but, you know, do they, you know, can we think about how much they're going to hate you when they're like 10 for that? Okay. Oh my gosh, Keshna, you asked so many questions. Oh my goodness. Okay, let's get through this. Okay, first question from Keshna. Yeah, it ain't cute. I love that, right? Okay. First question from Keshna. How much of the production is done solo? A lot of it, if not almost all of it, is done solo. So, yeah, with the Creators for Change project that you will see soon, God willing, there was some production help with that. Grace helped me with that, and she's super awesome. She's great. But most of the content that goes on the YouTube channel is just me alone, figuring out how to either shoot myself or shoot other people and be voyeuristic with it, be a documentarian. Mr. Hallease is just now kind of starting to help a little bit when it makes sense. But yeah, unless otherwise stated, know that it's just me shooting everything. Next question. When do you know to hire and bring someone along? When you got budget. That is when you have the budget to do that. Or when it's something that will like behoove both parties. So something I'm big on mentioning to people is that like you should collaborate across whenever you can. And you should always try to just like, if you can't pay someone, there's a lot of ways to get paid besides money. Sometimes it is exposure or access to new equipment or just things like that. So maybe it is just about like, they have a piece of equipment and then you have a piece of equipment and like together y'all can do some awesome stuff, you know. Last year, for example, Evelyn collaborated with me on a video for her channel where it's called like For People Who Feel Behind in Life or whatever, and I think it went like semi-viral. It was a really great video. She needed a drone, and I had just bought one. And so that collaboration made a lot of sense, even though her channel is like significantly bigger than mine. It made sense for us to collab because I had something that she readily needed access to. So think about it that way too. But I would say on a whole, always pay people when you can, and don't bring people on until you can offer something to them if you can't pay them monetarily. Does Mr. Hallease have a YouTube channel? No. No, he doesn't. He always, until recently, he always kind of thought of the channel as like my thing, and he never really wanted to be on it. But since I've gone freelance and really have dived more into the channel, he's starting to sort of like get on board and help and just like, you know, all of that kind of stuff. He still gets very nervous about it because I'm an introvert and he's like super introverted. So it does make him nervous, but he also, I think, can see how much I enjoy it. Like it stresses me out when I don't put a video up. It really is like therapy for me, and it really is like art for me. Like I need to make something. And so I think as my partner in life, he's very just like very aware of that and wanting to help as much as he can with that. So yeah. Alexandria put introverts unite. Yeah, definitely. Next question. What can you have to share about becoming a better storyteller? That's hard. Becoming a better storyteller. And also if anyone has questions, put them in the chat. If I miss it, put it again. Yeah, becoming a better storyteller. Honestly, all I can say is maybe don't necessarily watch too much stuff. I know these questions are excellent, right? Don't watch too much other stuff. Maybe pick people to watch that really like inspire you, or help you think about things in a different way. But the biggest thing is to just create, like just do stuff, put yourself on a deadline. There's this really great interview with Ira Glass called The Gap, and Google it if you want. Google Ira Glass, The Gap, and he talks about how when you're starting off, you have really good taste. You can tell that something's good, but because your taste is so good, you can tell that what you're making is crap. And that's the gap. You're trying to close that gap in between becoming your stuff, actually becoming good too, and having that good taste translate into your work. And the only way to close that gap is to just create all the time. Put yourself on a deadline. I think it's Malcolm Gladwell who talks about put in those 10,000 hours to become a genius at something. So a lot of my biggest thing would say is to just constantly keep making stuff. In a practical way, Veda is a good way to do that. I really saw my storytelling grow exponentially just from forcing myself to tell a story every day for 30 days. Like it was so stressful, but you know, it really helped. So just do it, Nike style. Here we go. Antoine asked a question. How do you feel about having young teenage followers? I feel really awkward about it. I definitely feel awkward about it. It's weird. I actually know the demographics. Most of the people watching my channel are between 24 and 34, so they're in my age demographic. I got a few people that are under that watching me, but I don't think I really resonate with that audience. So when I do see people that are younger watching me, I'm like, oh, why? What am I offering you, you know? What is the one thing that you immediately want people to think when someone says Hallease? That's a toss-up because ironically, I want people to think of my grandmother still, and legacy, her legacy. But I also want people to think of storytelling, just a digital storyteller. So it's like, it's tough. I want to like immortalize her as much as I can. But then also like lay the groundwork for myself as a storyteller. So it's twofold. Okay, back to Keshna questions. If you were to categorize your brand, what would it be? Oh man, I don't know, man. This is a question that I get asked a lot because YouTube helps you with this kind of stuff. Also, Belief told me that I need to like figure out what my brand is, and he's like someone I appreciate because he's kind of like figured it out too, and he's such a great storyteller and producer as well. I have no idea. Y'all tell me what is my brand? I don't know. Making the mundane interesting, beautiful, maybe. I don't know. I don't know. When I figure it out, I'll let you know though. Oh, okay. Next question. I'm using my iPhone to record my YouTube videos until I can upgrade. Any suggestions on great microphones to use with it for voiceovers? Actually, yeah, I do have a suggestion on that. So Rode, Rode, I think they're an Australian-based microphone company, but they're global, they're everywhere. They have the Rode Video Micro. It's a little microphone. They have one that you can plug directly into cameras that take audio, but they also have one that you can plug into a phone. So if you just go to like Amazon and click and type in just like Rode Video Micro, just like cell phone microphone, like some, that kind of wording, it'll come up. And that's actually a really great microphone to use. It plugs directly into the bottom, into your like headphone jack, or I think you can get it into this one now too. And yeah, that's just a good way to record your audio. You can do that. Also, well, if you're rolling, then you can't just do this. But yeah, that would be the best mic to use. Yeah. Let's see. Especially if you can't sync sound yet. If you're not quite at that stage yet where you're able to sync sound in whatever editing software you're using, go for that one. Next Keshna question. What other issues and topics are you interested in exploring aside from religion? So yeah, other topics I'm interested in exploring. Again, if y'all have questions, hit me up in the chat. Or if you're watching and you have access to my phone number, text me. Yeah, so other topics I'm interested in covering, I would say I'm really interested in going more into women's health stuff. And I actually am partnering with a company on a piece for that. So that will hopefully be dropping soon. I really enjoy being a resource for people when I can, especially people that I feel are marginalized in some way. So specifically with the women's health topic stuff, I do tend to kind of focus it more around women of color, even more specifically Black women, because if you look at the research around that, we really don't have access to a lot, and we're really just unaware about our own bodies and just women's health in regards to our bodies and the type of questions to ask a doctor or a gynecologist and things like that. So yeah, I first got into that when I did my first menstrual cup video review, and seeing so many women in the comments say like, oh my gosh, you're the first Black woman I've seen talk about this. And now I feel like it's a more approachable topic now because I see someone who looks like me talking about it, So that was really powerful for me. And yeah, that's why I try to be consistent about I want to put out more women's content for sure. So for example, one video I want to do, I'm currently getting the research going for that. And actually Mr. Hallease is helping me with that since he has his master's degree in nursing. So he's helping me with the research for that, is like breast swelling when you're leading up to your cycle, and just kind of like explaining that in a more approachable way and how you can reduce that and things like that. So that's a video I want to do as well. So women's health stuff. I'm so ready to get into that. Let's see, what else? Ooh, okay, so Keshna, I've answered the first section of your questions. Moving on to the next section. Yes, there are sections, folks. She's so, Keshna, like producer of the month right now. Oh, well, that actually leads into the next question. What made you switch to using a menstrual cup? Yeah, so Yeah, so what made me switch to using a menstrual cup? I switched to it a few years back. I first started using them in 2015. Before that, I had used traditional major brand pads, you know, like Playtex and things like that. Um, oh, so sorry, I'm getting messages. But yeah, I did that because I had actually been on Tumblr and was starting to see a lot of discussions around women's health stuff on Tumblr, and they were mentioning how much pads and tampons um, could just like kind of mess up or, you know, like disrupt your natural cycle and flow. And I was like, wait, really? You know, and then I started doing more research and was like, oh, wow, okay, this is like a legitimate thing. And that was what made me try out the menstrual cup. It was a slow process. It took me about 4 or 5 months to like truly go all the way because there is a learning curve to it. And it's not for everybody. Definitely, you got to be okay with like touching your own blood a little bit, you know, stuff like that. So, but yeah, I really wanted to do it, and I'm really happy I did, especially even though I hadn't really used tampons really before that. I had always just been a pad wearer, but yeah, that was the main reason was the idea of like the health benefits to it. I definitely noticed that my period significantly shrank in how many days it lasted. I noticed that my bleeding wasn't as heavy. I noticed that my cramps went down. Um, so yeah, it was gradual, definitely. And it's not for everybody, you know, but it is another option. That's the big thing with all the health videos. I just want you to know what your options are and then make an informed decision for yourself, you know, to take like more ownership of your own health. That's always the issue that I'm pushing. Do you still have some of the research or Tumblr posts you came across? Not really. Tumblr's scary to me now. There's so much discourse on Tumblr, but you can also just like fall into the rabbit hole of like insanity on there. So I don't really pop on there that often anymore. But yeah, no, I'm sorry. Something I want to be better about with the health stuff, though, is putting sources in the description box so that way you can be enabled to like dive more deep into it if you want. So I will start doing that. Someone else asked a question via something. I think it was via text. Let me find it. Sorry. I think it was my sister. Oh, do you think your push for women's health is because of mom or the change in our environment and how poor the earth's health is? Yeah, I think mom definitely had something to do with it. So yeah, I come from a family of like service oriented people. So my mother is a nurse, my husband's a nurse, my sister's a teacher. A lot of my family is like people in service jobs, you know? So yeah, I think I found that I could combine my spiritual gift of storytelling with just enabling people and informing the public about things. And so that is, yeah, I think mom definitely had something to do with that because she's always been very like, this is your vagina, you know? She's always been very much like, you need to know how your body works and stuff like that. So yeah, she played a factor for sure. Okay, next question. What fears did you have talking about that on camera? Honestly, none. Yeah, I didn't really have much fear about talking about it because again, to me, it's more like it's not weird what's happening in my body, you know? Like normalizing it is what I feel like needs to happen. So that way, again, women can feel more enabled to know themselves and so they can know when something's wrong and go seek medical attention when something's wrong, you know? So yeah, I didn't really actually feel that weird talking about it. No, I was more just excited that I had found something. And that's the big thing. I was just excited that I found something that was working and I just wanted to share it with like everyone, you know? So yeah, I wasn't that scared. Um, Next question. I really enjoyed your 3 grandmas video. I've got 1 grandma left, and if I like to make a video before she passes. Oh, and I'd like to make a video before she passes. Any suggestions? Just record everything you can. So I made a documentary a few years back about my grandma, who I'm named after, my biological grandmother, Grandma Hallease. And that the original reason why I filmed her was because a fellow filmmaker was doing this thing where he interviewed older people about their regrets and things like that. And he wanted to diversify it. So he asked me if I would film some of my family. And I was like, oh, this is perfect timing because I'm going back home to Virginia for my grandmother's 80th birthday and I'll film her. And so, yeah, I just did this sort of impromptu interview. If you want to watch the full documentary with her, it's called 80 for 80. It's on the YouTube channel. I think it's like 20 minutes. But yeah, I would say try to just capture with them as much as you can. You'll be surprised actually how much the older generation wants to tell their story. But I think a lot of them often feel like they're just being annoying or whatever, you know? But I often like interviewing older people because they have usually a very unique perspective on life. Oh, she can't talk. She has Alzheimer's. Ah, okay. Interesting. First off, I'm sorry to hear that. My great grandmother passed because of that. If she can't talk, then I would say, like, strategically to focus it more around your perspective of her. Especially if you remember her before the Alzheimer's really kicked in and took away her speech. Or maybe it's more about how, even though she has lost the ability to talk, how is she still communicating with you? That would be an interesting perspective to take on that. Or it could be just a bigger conversation around communication in general and how losing a facet of communication can hinder your life. There's so many ways you could take that story with your grandmother, knowing that she has that disease. And then I think also bringing it back to how can you inform the public about Alzheimer's and maybe some things that people can do to prevent it, or the research and studies around it when it makes sense. That's another way I would say to approach that. So like with my 3 grandmas video, she had taken a stumble, and we were going to visit her at the hospital pretty regularly. But because I was going to visit her a lot, she would just start talking about her life and just things that she's been through. Most of it I already knew to a degree, but some of it I didn't because I'd begun to realize as an adult, I had never really had adult conversations with her. I'd always had more like childlike conversations with her because I was so young. So it's the beauty of perspective when you can reapproach a family member as an adult, and especially when they see you as one, that makes a big difference too. And so, yeah, I just felt the need to record her, but she is very, into making sure that she looks good. You know, she's an old lady from Boston, so her hair always needs to be right. She's got to put some lipstick on, you know? So I shot her in a way that honored that about her, didn't really show her face because she wasn't looking as she would feel her best at that time. But she still wanted to tell her story. So, yeah. And by the way, she is now home. She's been released. She went through all of her therapies and training and stuff. And so she's now back home. We actually were hanging out with her last night. So yeah. I hope that answers your question though, Keshna. Let me know if there's a follow-up. And then Keshna's last question, is there ever really a way to get someone comfortable in front of a camera? That's a good question. Kinda. So something I've learned from working for a video agency for many years before going freelance is that even the most seasoned people still get nervous in front of cameras. And your job as the producer is to figure out how to calm them down and relax them and almost forget that the camera's there. I find that the easiest way to do that is to set it and forget it. So on a smaller scale, like with my grandma Jan, I told her I was going to record or whatever, but like once I started recording, the camera just sat in my lap. Like once I felt like I had the angle, it just sat in my lap and I just kept talking to her. And so what y'all don't see is there's about, I would say, 5 minutes of footage that is essentially unusable because we're just talking and talking and talking. And essentially I'm trying to get her to kind of forget that I'm recording, as much as she can. And that's how that kind of worked out. And then this is where becoming a producer gets kind of complicated because you have to figure out the right way to bring a topic back up that feels comfortable and natural to the person that you're shooting. And that comes with practice and time. At the corporate level, that was the type of stuff I had to do. I would interview C-suite executives or help the executive producer of the agency interview C-suite executives and things like that. And so it's something that you just kind of you learn to do it over time. And a lot of times it ends up being about asking the same question, but in different ways. So an example would be, what did you do today? And then they maybe say oh, I went to the mall and did this and that. And then you talk about a few other things. And then you're like, so yesterday, was it a slow day? I'm still asking the same thing. You see what I'm saying? But I did it in a different way, but their reaction to how they answer that will be different. Does that make sense? So that's something you can do. I don't think that people, depending on the type of person, they may never forget the camera is there. So if you watch the VidCon vlog, there's a point when John Green is on camera there. And I'm talking about how his wife comes up and touches him and is like, you can do this, With that, I had asked him beforehand, hey, can I film you? Because I think I might put together some kind of vlog from being here at VidCon. And he was like, yeah, thank you. He was like, first off, thank you for asking. But yes, I always expect to be filmed. And I did the same thing. I kind of set it up and forgot about the camera on him and just started talking to other people doing other things and kind of hoped that I would catch some kind of moment. But if you look at that footage, you can tell, guys, he never forgot that a camera was on him because of the nature of who he is, and he was visibly uncomfortable by it. You know what I'm saying? So, but that ended up being a cool moment to show too, sort of the plight of being in the public sphere as much as someone like him is. So sometimes it can work in your favor to tell a better story. You just never know. Someone has texted me a question. Now that you're freelance, how are you addressing your video storage? That is such an Alex question. Yeah. So being a video producer, you have a lot of footage that you use and store, especially with these cameras now that can shoot 4K and things like that. I still pretty much have the same system that Alex, you've probably seen. I have a travel drive that I use that I sort of house footage that I'm capturing on the go for these sort of weekly videos that y'all are seeing. And then every couple of months, I empty out that drive onto what I call a BURA drive, which is backup, recovery, and archive. I am not a big agency, so I don't, it's just a bigger drive. But if I were more intense, I would have servers and things like that, but I'm not there yet. So yeah, I just back it on to that. And that's pretty much it. It's not the best backup system I could ever use, but for now, it's enough. Yeah. So that's that question. Does anyone else have any questions about videos? I'm sorry if I'm being long-winded. It's so much easier when I can cut myself, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, sorry. I think I answered all of Keshna's questions. Keshna, you're the real MVP. Just want to let you know that you are the real MVP. on that 100 million trillion with these questions. Skinny Girl Fat Hair says she's over here taking notes. Yeah, they were amazing questions. I know. They were amazing. There's a fly in this room. Like, you're killing me, dude. Yeah, they were such good questions. Like, seriously, Keshna, you're amazing. Okay, so Alexandria is asking, what videos are in the immediate future for you? Okay, so that's a great question because I usually don't think of what I'm gonna make a video about until like the week of. So that's awkward. I think what I would like, actually, so I wanna make another hair video. I wanna make another hair video because it's been super dry and super hot this summer in Texas, and I've had to adjust my hair regimen. And so I'm starting to actually use leave-in conditioner as conditioner. People in the lock world will be like, what? You know, so I want to make a video talk about that and like get the lock community's input on what I'm doing and see how many of them think I'm trash now, you know, like that kind of thing. Yes, yes, Skinny Girl Fat Hair. She has locks too. So yeah, I want to make a video about that. Tomorrow, the video that will be dropping is Mr. Hallease and I actually discussing the house and how we feel about the house and everything that's been going on with the house and what stresses us about it. Because if you follow if you follow me on Instagram, you saw that we were at a hotel to get away, to give Mr. Hallease a break because he kind of just like mentally wasn't in a good space. And while we were at that hotel, we shot the video that came out yesterday and we shot another one. And so that will come out tomorrow. And it'll kind of touch a little bit on faith as well and prayer and like, what is the purpose of prayer? And like, how do you come to God with like just issues, you know what I'm saying? So I'm curious to see, and it's also kind of a response video to Maze Lee a little bit too. So I'm really interested to see just what the feedback is on that and just like, yeah, what people think about it. It's more to kind of start a discussion. So yeah, that's like immediate video coming up for sure. People are asking questions via my phone. Trying not to be rude, sorry. Why are you so hard on yourself about your work? What videos are you in? I answered that one when it comes. Okay, yeah. Why are you so hard on yourself about your work? Because someone's gotta be. I think I'm hard on, actually, no, there's a very practical reason for that. I'm hard on myself about my work because before I used to have external sources that were very hard on me about my work. So my first job was terrible in production. Well, it wasn't terrible. It was a great learning experience on how to take very harsh criticism well. So my first production job was very intense, and I had to learn how to, take very harsh criticism. That was good criticism, but very much blanketed in a very intense, sort of not helpful way. Yeah, you know what's going on, Alexander. A very helpful way. But I am grateful because that very harsh criticism did really help me hone my storytelling skills very quickly. And I learned so much from that first job. I learned so much. And so, it was a very debilitating, like borderline, like semi-verbally abusive. But I learned a lot. And that harshness, I think I always just like internalized it and kept it with me as I moved on to other jobs. And became sort of my own critic in that way. So much so that when I came to the agency I just recently went freelance from, it was very refreshing to have a boss that was still very strict and stern about quality, but in a very constructive and a very mentorship kind of way. She was always very quick to say, like, this isn't that good and here's why. And could give me sort of the practical tools to make it better. but also be like, we're on a time crunch. You need to get good faster, you know? So, yeah, I just sort of like internalized both of those influences. And now that I'm on my own, I don't really have anyone to maintain the quality aspect for me. So I have to do it myself. So yeah, that's why I'm very hard on myself. A lot of it is past experiences plus wanting to make sure that, yeah, I maintain a certain level of quality. But like Belief said, you kind of got to like, you want to put out quality product, but you also got to close that gap, and you need to, in order to close that gap, you got to put out stuff that like low key is kind of shitty sometimes, just to get there. So yeah. Keshna is asking, I have another video question. What's your process of coming up with ideas for videos? What additional information can you give about color correction, undertone, etc.? You made a video. Oh yeah, about lighting. Wait, I like read that, but didn't process that. Hold on. I have another video question. What's your process of coming up with ideas for videos? So again, the channel is my life. The channel is about my life. So I come up with videos based on what's happening in my life. So like I said, next week, I'm probably going to put out a video about my hair and using a conditioner because that's what I'm doing in my life with my hair. Tomorrow, the video about Mr. Hallease and I just like discussing prayer and faith and like, but then going through this house thing, like that's what's going on in my life. So I'm going to make a video about it. Like it really is a work-life blend in that way. That's kind of how I come up with the ideas. And that's pretty much it. But additional information I can give you about color correction and undertone, like what? Like what additional information would you like me to give you? Because I feel like the video I covered 2-point lighting, which I think is like the basics. Like right now, for example, there's no lights in here because I don't need them because I'm next to a really big window. And then there's a window over here. So these 2 windows are basically my 2-point lights. And again, like I said in the video, I feel like melanated people look the best with natural from the sun light. I just feel like our skin just really knows what to do with it. You know what I'm saying? And that's why those ND filters really help. As far as like knowing what your undertone is, the easiest way, if you don't have a friend who's an artist, I have friends who are artists, so they were the ones that were like, you have a cool undertone, just so you know, because artists have to study color and really know color. The best way you could do it is maybe go to a makeup artist. So like go to Sephora and pretend like you're going to buy something. I don't know. And see, get the makeup artist to kind of be like, well, you need the neutral because, or you need the warm because, you know what I'm saying? And then that kind of lets you know what your skin undertone is. The other way I would say, depending on how much melanation you have, because if you're super melanated, like my friend Kaon, she's Jamaican, so she's like so melanated. It's like awesome. So if depending on how much melanin you have, you can look at your arm and see your veins. And if you can see your veins and your veins look a little blue or they look a little red, that's also a good way to figure out what your skin undertone is based on that. So if I look at my vein right now, it comes out, it's cooler. It's almost like greenish, bluish, like a tealy kind of green blue. And that's how I know that that's my undertone. So I hope that helps. It's really, I know it's complicated lighting like medium to darker skin tones because yeah, literally the technology wasn't built for us. So I know it's difficult, but a lot of it is just trial and error, man. Like for real. So Antoinette asked, has your previous boss made any comments about your recent work? By previous boss, do you mean recent freelance previous boss or previous boss? Which boss? If it's the previous intense boss, no, I have no idea. what she's up to. Not a clue. But I hope she's doing well. If it's my most recent going freelance from the agency boss, she hasn't commented on my like work on here specifically, but I have done more work for her now as a freelancer, and she's been happy with the work. So that's cool. So yeah, it's been fun. It's been real fun. I think that's all the questions. And we're actually like almost at an hour. So let me know if we want to call it. You know what I'm saying? But this has been really cool. This was like for my introverted self, this was like a nice way to get into live streaming. Because this is like high-key scary. And the chat box, I could just imagine the chat box just like being just like, whoa, you know. So this was like not scary. A way to do this. Yeah, I think that's all the questions. Wait, last question, exclamation point from Skinny Girl Fat Hair. How do you maintain your social media presence without becoming overwhelmed? Ooh, good question. So I'm going to take this from, I need to send this live stream to Belief because I keep referencing him. So yeah, Belief did this like recent interview with video influencers, that channel. And he talks about don't be your own supplier. In regards to like, he's saying that in regards to like drug dealing, essentially, like, oh, don't like get high off your own supply. And I think that's a very good way to think about social media. I literally think about social media as a tool to promote myself, and that is it. So I am not on Instagram to just, you know, take in Instagram. I am on Instagram to post, to maybe see what's going on with a select few people like you, Skinny Girl Fat Hair, and to also see like hashtags, like what hashtags are being used in regards to the type of content I post on my IG. It's all streamlined. I'm not just on there just to like revel in the feed, if you will. Same thing with Facebook. I am very rarely on Facebook just to be on it. I am on it to, again, engage now mostly with people on the Patreon Facebook page. And that's it. Maybe I'll get on there once a month, once a week or two to check in on people that I know are going through some things. You know, a lot of my friends are at that age where they're starting to get married, starting to have kids, that kind of stuff. So checking in that way. But then I also kind of like that I don't know too much until they reach out to me. And then I'm like, oh, now I get to see that there's news, you know? Yeah, so I maintain my social media presence. I post when I need to post and I get off. That's the big thing. Feel so, yeah, see, and that's why I got off. She said, I'm trying to get to that place, but I feel so guilty sometimes. Yeah, and I had hit that too, where I felt like this weird sense of like FOMO, but it's like I'm missing out on scrolling. Like, what? What am I doing? You know? It was gradual. The thing that, like, as far as tools I could recommend, I started using, I think it's called Leaf or it's called Tree. I don't have it on my phone anymore because I don't need it on there anymore. But it's an app that you set it up on your phone and you tell it that you're not going to use your phone or touch your phone for like 30 minutes. And in that process, it grows a garden. And so if you get on too soon and you don't let the time run out, then your garden dies. And who wants their garden to die? Like no one, you know? So that's a really cool app. Highly recommend that. Another app I use is called Cold Turkey, and that's on my computer. And it's an app that you can tell it to make it so you can be online, but you can't go to certain websites. So that's how I broke my habit of like getting on Facebook for no reason. I would like be editing and something setting up to export, and then I would immediately like jump on Facebook, and it literally will pop up an inspirational quote instead of Facebook, you know, or instead of Tumblr. Like Tumblr, oh my gosh, I used to spend hours on Tumblr, like just diving deep. So use those productive tools that are out there until you can, but they're supposed to be tools. So until you can eventually just break away and you don't need to use anything. So Alexandria says, I still use the app because of you. Yeah, every now and then, I still have to break it out. When I have a deadline and I can feel myself keep going back, I have to bust it out and turn it on and be like, literally get off of stuff. So yeah, I feel like, my sister just said that my brother-in-law said I'm not an introvert. That's because you just don't realize how much of a facade I'm putting on. Even with this, like, I set up this live stream a month ago. I've been psyching myself up to do this live stream for the past month, Alex. I went and had coffee before starting this. I'm an introvert, but I have learned how to adjust myself accordingly to live in an extroverted world. So yeah. But yeah, and I am now excited to say that we have hit an hour. I'm excited to say that we have hit an hour, and it feels like a great place to end the live stream. So if you're watching this after the fact, again, these happen every month. Hopefully, God willing, these happen every month for the Patreon producers, and we can just get on and, as y'all saw, just discuss anything and everything about the channel, and or just ask me questions. So yeah, and that's pretty much it. Thank y'all for coming. Thank you, friends who hopped on. Thank you, Patreon producers who are out here. It's been really fun. And I will see y'all technically tomorrow, because the video will be live tomorrow. But when this video goes up, maybe it won't be. Y'all get it. I'll see y'all later.